All right, let's do this. I don't have a lot of space left on my memory card. So, hi, I'm Mabel. Welcome. We're getting started with the Newbie Booktuber tag. I thought this would be a great way to start off my new channel for you to get to know me and get to know a little bit more about what you might see in future videos. Getting started with question number 1, why did you start this channel? I want to yap about books. That's really it. Starting a YouTube channel is something that I've wanted to do for years, and I've made 1,001 excuses for why I can't, or just let my fear get in the way, etc., etc. There's also, of course, been periods of time where I literally did not have the time or mental capacity to do something like this, and I don't know. This is my year of yes part 2. I had a year like that in my 20s, and this is like my 30s version of my year of yes. I'm just going for it, you know? We're just doing the thing. We're doing the things that we want to do, and we're letting fear take a back seat. So here we are. Question number 2, what is unique about this channel? A couple of things, I guess. I mean, I'm a millennial woman talking about books on YouTube, so there's that. One of the reasons why I really felt compelled to start a channel, I don't see a lot of English speaking or American Latinas on BookTube. I see my international girlies from Latin American countries or Spanish speaking countries on here, but I'm not seeing a lot of US Latinas on here, and hopefully that's a gap that I can help fill and hopefully inspire other girlies like me to join the conversation. That's one thing for sure that will be unique about this channel, and something that I hope to bring to the table. I don't know how unique this is, but I majored in English in college. I studied English literature, Spanish literature, French literature. Professionally, I don't work in the publishing world. However, my goal is to eventually write and publish books. That by no means is to say that I'm here to over intellectualize or be on the soapbox about things. That's just to say that the lens through which I see and understand books is colored by that experience. 3, why do I love reading? From a young age, I really loved the ability to travel to a different place, to a different world via books. It was my safe space. It was my escape when life was scary or challenging. When I felt lonely, I felt so at home and safe and at peace in books. It's something that I loved and appreciated for that reason. Now I would say that I love the ability to explore different perspectives as well as different worlds and learn about not just others' experiences, but be able to understand or get a glimpse into how other people see the world differently than how I do. I'm fascinated by that. I'm fascinated by other people's way of looking at the world and understanding their surroundings. It's one of the reasons why I love memoirs. You're going to hear me talk a lot about memoirs. I think it's the easiest way to expand your horizons and step out of your comfort zone. And I think when it comes to stories in general, the words that we use to communicate those stories, the words that we use to communicate feelings, thoughts, experiences, those are the things that pluck a string inside me and evoke emotions of all sorts. So whether that's words in a book, in the lyrics of a song, the dialogue in a film, all of that to me has always been the primary way in which I connect to art and other people. You know, like the different love languages, acts of service, gifts, etc. Mine has always been, I would just say words, not words of affirmation, but words. Question number 4, favorite books that got me into reading. My earliest memories of like being obsessed with a story or falling in love with a character or a book would have to be Harry Potter, of course. I'm a millennial. I grew up in the 90s. It's cornerstone of our cultural experience, and it certainly was for me. I was reading those books when they were being released, and it was such a unique point in time. I'm grateful for having had that experience, sharing it with my friends, sharing it with everybody who grew up during the same time as me. Those books had a huge impact on me. I would also say Nancy Drew, Goosebumps, I'm gonna do Carrie Can Reads Where My Lore Started tag, and I will get more into the books of my childhood and the books that I grew up with, the nostalgia of it all. I'll do a separate video talking specifically about that. So when it comes to like books that made me fall in love with the craft of writing and more of what I was just talking about when I answered the last question, that would be All the Pretty Horses, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Those are the books that I can think of right now. You know, those classics. The Secret Garden, actually I read that one more as a younger child. These are the stories that really had me like falling in love with the art form of writing and what made me start seriously thinking about the kind of writer that I wanted to be. Question number 5, what are some of the hardest challenges you might overcome on this channel? I think facing my own personal anxieties and fears will definitely be a part of this whole experience. It's part of the reason for why I waited so long to start this channel. I think I just let that stuff hold me back. So I don't know that it'll be an obstacle so much as this thing that I'm aware of and making sure I'm not letting it get in the way. Maybe that is an obstacle. I don't know. I am also aware that the creative well may at some points run dry. I'm already kind of trying to stay on top of that by keeping track of my idea database in Notion, jotting them all down as they come in so that when those days come where I'm maybe feeling less inspired, I have something to reference from, you know, things that past me may have already set me up with. Last but not least, this is the internet. It can be a wonderful place and it can also be a circle of hell. So I know that for the most part, people mean well and are happy to be here. But when the day comes when somebody is like a troll or is mean or says something nasty, that's something that I know I will eventually have to face. And I don't look forward to it. Of course not. No one does. But those are things that I'm mentally preparing myself for now so that it doesn't affect the work that I want to keep doing, because this is really a labor of love for me. It's something that I hope will fill a creative pocket that has maybe been a bit empty in the last few years. Okay, question number 6. When did you start reading? I have memories of me reading as early as maybe age 3, 4-ish. And we're talking like me reading alone, books where you have like sight words paired with like iconography. What's the word I'm looking for? They're like sight words with pictures so that you're reading like 2 or 3 letter words, and then there's like a picture of an apple or something for like a longer word. And again, I'm going to talk more about that in the Where My Lore Started video. Yeah, I would probably say like pre-K age. Question number 7, where do I read? Literally everywhere. So if I'm out of the house, of course I have my phone, and I primarily use Libby or Spotify to listen to audiobooks at the moment. And I usually almost always have one audiobook going at any given time. And so when I'm driving, or if I'm taking my dogs for a walk, or I'm going for a run, I'm listening to an audiobook. I also always have my little basic Kindle, the 6-inch size, in my purse. So sometimes I will be reading an ebook if I'm waiting in a long line for something, or if I'm like waiting at the doctor's office. Otherwise, if I'm like intentionally looking to spend time reading and not just like capitalizing on a free opportunity to read, I will usually be at home. So usually that's my couch and my living room. Sometimes here in my office, although I still need to get like a comfy chair in here. Once I do, I will probably be reading mostly in here. Or when I'm reading in bed, that's almost always like one of my e-readers, either my Kobo or my Kindle, just because of the like ease of like the physical experience. I don't want to have like a physical book because then I'm like ready to fall asleep. And if I'm not looking to read at home, I might sometimes go to a coffee shop to read, although I haven't done that in a while. Otherwise, I'll go to a park and read. And that, I live in Texas, so there's also like only a like brief windows of time when that's reasonable to do without like melting, or I have to go to like a specific place that I know has shade. and then I'll read like on a picnic blanket outside with usually snacks and water, of course, because gotta stay hydrated out here, and I am not a dainty person. I will sweat a lot. It's gross. Okay, question number 8. What kind of books do you like to read? What kind of genres do you like to read? I really like to read across various genres. I'm not going to say all of them. There are certain genres that I don't love or I don't often find myself gravitating towards. The genres that I most often am reading these days or in the last few years, I love a good memoir, literary fiction, classics, fantasy, usually high fantasy. So those are the main genres that I kind of bop between. I do also like horror and science fiction, although those are not genres that I am often gravitating towards. I can find that science fiction especially can be a hit or miss for me. And as far as nonfiction goes, apart from memoirs and biographies, I will sometimes read a history book. I don't really fuck with self-help books unless they are more like psychology based or business based. And in those situations, they have to be more like data driven or science driven. I can't do the like feel good self-help stuff. I've tried those, and one, I find them to be kind of like clickbait in a book form. And two, sometimes I find that genre itself, like it feels a bit predatory, like it's like looking for people in a vulnerable state, and that just kind of gives me the ick. And then as far as like the actual experience of like reading those types of books, I don't find that I get much out of them because they usually all kind of say the same thing. And I am a person who learns by doing. So like if you're trying to teach me some kind of like life lesson or something, I'm most likely not going to learn it through a book. I'm going to learn it by making some really stupid mistakes and then learning from them. The other genre that I don't find myself really loving a whole lot would have to be contemporary fiction, especially contemporary romance. Although I will say, I did recently pick up my first Emily Henry. I read Funny Story a couple months ago. Loved it. I had a great time reading that. And finally, question number 9, what does your book collection look like? Well, this is part of it behind me here. I have another shelf out in my living room and a few books in my bedroom as well. I wouldn't say that my personal collection is very extensive, or maybe I'm just saying that because in my brain I have like an actual library in my house, like in my dream world, in my dream house, I have like a full like Beauty and the Beast style like library in my home. One day she will have that. I also just love using my library, and I utilize that resource a lot. So in any given month, maybe half the books that I'm reading are coming from my library, and that's something that everyone should use. Please support your local libraries. They are so important. Well, that sums up this first video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that got to know a little bit more about me. You certainly will in future videos. I'm so excited to start filming more content for you and to yap more about books. My hopes for the future of this channel is for this to be a cozy and safe little corner of the internet for us to be able to talk about books and our shared interests and hobbies, have maybe some interesting conversations about topics that we come across through the different books that we're reading, and just learn more from one another and explore different perspectives, all the good stuff. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited that you're here. If you watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Until then, bye.